Okay, good, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And first of all, let me thank ICANN for your kind invitation for me to share my thoughts on some various topics. I think for today, I'm to talk on beyond COVID-19, key strategic financial priorities for the public sector. The good thing is that some of the key areas I will also talk about on digital transformation has been well covered. So when I get to that point, I probably will skip it. My intention is to speak for roughly probably about 45 minutes so that at least we can have another 45 minutes for question and answer. And my own experience is that it's in the course of such discussions that some learning points too will come out. So I will start my presentation. Like I said, the topic is beyond COVID-19. So the first thing I probably say is that the rapid outbreak of COVID-19 presents an alarming health crisis. And the reality is that in addition to the human impact, there has also been significant economic, business, and commercial impact. And virtually all sectors in Nigeria have been impacted. Certainly, the COVID-19 threat will eventually fade. We've had Ebola, we've had Zika, we've had SARS in recent years, and they've all gone away. But the social economic impact will be with us for a long time after the virus has gone. We are also in the fourth industrial revolution where technology is enabling new capabilities for people and machines. Therefore, we have to start looking beyond COVID-19 and start looking at key strategic priorities that will shape the decisions that we make. Okay, so the outline of my presentation clearly is as follows. Like I said, I'll talk more about the strategic financial priorities. I'll look at the overview. Then I'll talk about priorities for public institutions in particular, and how do we realign our cost structure. Then I'll go to digital transformation that has been well covered. Again, I'll probably just talk on a few areas on how to prepare your employees for the new normal, how do you carve out new revenue streams, and how do you strengthen capital budget efficiency. Then I'll go on to Fiscal Responsibility Act in ensuring prudent financial management. I'll end with some slides on performance management, the benefits and impact. Then I'll have a conclusion. What I've done is that if there's enough time, I can go to a case study which I felt might be relevant to us, in which I'll be looking at the US budgetary and appropriation process and compare it with what we do in Nigeria, since we both use the same term of practice same term of democracy. So that might just be useful for us to see. So I will start off with the overview of strategic financial priorities. And in my slide, before going into the financial priorities, we believe there must be an overall strategic objective, which indicates the goals that are to be achieved. We cannot talk about financial priorities without looking at the overall goals of where the organization or what government is trying to be. It is when those strategic objectives have been identified that we can now go to strategic financial priorities, which will enable the implementation of the objectives. In the public sector, this can be captured in developmental plans. If it's private sector, we're talking about your vision and mission, and from there you derive your goals. But for public sector, it is about developmental plans. And for the Nigerian government, this can be seen in what I call the Nigerian country strategic plans. We prioritize some key areas. There is no plan we talk about nowadays that does not talk about issue of agri and food security. That is for to diversify the economy. We also talk about private sector-led economic growth. We talk about sustainable development. And finally, we talk about the fight against corruption. There is no plan or any talk on budget for the last 10, 15 years that does not anchor itself on these four areas. Our challenge has always been that we talk about it, but in our plans, in our strategic plans, in our financial plans, does this form the bedrock of whatever that we are doing? So therefore, strategic objectives are usually one of the most challenging components of a strategic plan, because they create the bridge between the organization, the big bold vision, and the other goals needed to achieve it. I hope that is very clear. Because objectives are quite challenging. You get it? Because they are the key components of your plan. They are the bridge. They are the top layer of the organization's strategic plans framework. Strategic priorities, pillars, plans, objectives, they are all the same thing, whatever we choose to call them. They are quite critical. And like I said, strategic objectives are mini vision statements, and they must be clear. So for those of us in finance, we must have our own strategic objective, we must have our own mini vision statement that derives from where the organization is trying to go. And like I said, the strategic financial priorities involves the process of managing the finances of a corporate entity to meet strategic goals. Strategic financial management ensures that the strategy chosen is implemented to achieve the desired goals. And it has some various features.